congratulations are in order for the Hall of Fame class that was announced last night, the class of 2023 in the NFL. Zach Thomas, well overdue, has been on the ballot for a long time. He's been one of the names that people have thrown out there. You put his stats next to some other linebackers in the game, like a Brian Urlacher, and nobody could figure out why Zach Thomas hadn't gotten the call yet. He gets the call. DeMarcus Ware, Joe Thomas, your former teammate, Brady Quinn, Rondé Barber, Darrell Revis, Eric Coryell, Don Coryell was in.
That's long overdue.
Yeah, Chuck Howley, and then Ken Riley and Joe Klecko. So the Hall of Fame class of 2023 announced, and I would say majority of those, not surprising, but happy to see that they're finally getting the call, especially a guy like Zach Thomas who's now in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, someone like Zach who, wasn't able to win a Super Bowl, right? The stats aren't enough, even though when you talk about anyone who played against them, how they went about and prepared for that game, the entire week, there was a guy wearing a thing on his helmet or a jersey because he was Zach Thomas. Wherever Zach went, you had to have a body on him. You had to have someone on him in the run blocking game, pass protection, quarterbacks were kind of aware where he's dropping to. For me, it's always, did that player make you change how you played the game? And was he one of the best at his position during his career? And he was. So it's unfortunate that a lot of times we loop in the success of the team into an individual player's accolades and whether or not they should, end up being Hall of Fame worthy. But happy for all these guys, in particular Joe Thomas. Obviously got drafted the same year together. He was one of those guys that from day one, technically he was so sound. He was so mature. Never felt like there was ever a matchup, a week, anything that was like overwhelming or too much. I mean, from the day he stepped in there, he was the blindside left tackle, and he was just special, and you kind of knew it. He was just so special, so consistent, so steady for his entire career.
Yeah, I mean, I wish good luck, a happy well wish to all of them getting in. Obviously, Darrell Revis is one of the homies from Quippa, so we've added another one to the list of Western PAers that have gone in. DeMarcus Ware is a great name. It's a great name to go on to this class. Obviously, Don Coryell. We were just talking about this offline, not on the air. Well, no, we actually were talking about it on the air. I don't know how we got to White Castle, but we were talking about on the air just young guys not knowing the past.
Yeah.
And if you know the past and you're a fan of the game, you know about those offenses and the schemes that were created by Don Coryell and how it led to, the West Coast offense, West Coast style of offense and different things like that.
It was its own offense,
with
right?
Jefferson and all of the,
it literally became the 3-digit system. Yeah. Like a lot of people didn't realize that, but, when they were trying to figure out a way of simplifying offense so everyone kind of knew it on the West Coast. And so you get these different JUCOs, community colleges where players are kind of coming in and out. And it ended up being a digit system. So every single route you had attached to a number. And so, for example, your in-breaking routes were even, your out-breaking routes were odd. Your post was an 8. Curl or in, depending on how you did it, was a 4 or 6. So all that, yeah.
We did that in high school.
Yeah. So that all came from Don Coryell.
Yeah.
He was the – and that's another one. You look at it and you go, his impact on football was so immense at multiple levels. It should have never taken this long. It's the same thing we talked about when Mike Leach passed. His impact of football at multiple levels is football's not where it's at without people like Don Coryell and people like Mike Leach. And I don't know why these Hall of Fame committees have to have this criteria that you need to get to. It's like, what was their impact? Did they change the game? They did. Darrell Revis. He changed the way you played him every time you played. You weren't throwing a Darrell.
Sounds like you want to get something off your chest. It was an interesting list of finalists, and I will say there were a few finalists that you could probably say what it is that you say. I would venture to say.
Hold on, I gotta look up. Did you already see like Adam Schefter's tweet about next year, like who's eligible?
No, but I would also add to getting into the Hall of Fame, it's that greatness and that dominance for an extended amount of time too. Like it can't just be a short burst. Like, you got to show that you've been dominant for a period of time.
Let me ask you guys this: Does it piss you off that a guy like Don Coryell or Zach Thomas just sort of kind of fade away? Like, everyone's so focused on the now, and they don't realize how you got to the now and all the great players that became before you. And guys like that, you look at and you go, well, yeah, why did it take so long? It's kind of disrespectful if you think about it.
I mean, if you're looking at Hall of Fame classes and you're looking at guys that still haven't gotten in, like, I'll continue every single time I'm able to have a conversation that goes down this lane. There's a couple names that immediately pop up to me, and as to why are they not in the Hall of Fame? And Fred Taylor continues to be the number one name that comes to mind, talking about all the things that Brady just said, how you prepare for this guy, what are you going to do to try to contain him, because you're not going to stop him, you know, the records, you know, like the things that he's done. I think that one is really, really egregiously bad to me. And the other one is Brian Mitchell. Like, everyone is sitting here, and God bless. I think Devin Hester will get into the Hall of Fame at some point, and he should get in. And his numbers they pale in comparison to Brian Mitchell's statistic line across all categories in special teams. And I just don't understand why Brian Mitchell doesn't get the call to go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's like almost like the whole Harry Carson deal, or how long it took for Art Monk to get in. I think sometimes when you make certain selections and they get in, it raises the level of head scratching when you see certain guys that you know. I'm not even going to say more deserving. I'm just going to say, you know, by now it's past due that they're deserving of the honor that they should receive.
So here's the guys who Adam Schefter tweeted out are up for next year's 2020 Hall of Fame class: Joyce Peppers, Antonio Gates, Eric Berry, Brandon Marshall, Haloti Ngata, Jamal Charles, Doug Baldwin, Jordy Nelson, Connor Barwin, Sebastian Janikowski, Kyle Williams, and Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I had better careers than 70%, 80% of them.
Stop. People at home can't see the face Jonas just made, but
really?
Yeah, Adam Schefter tweeted that. I'm like,
okay.
Was there like an agent involved in some of that?
So those are the names, huh? Like, I didn't.
Those can't
by
be
the way,
the names.
I didn't realize.
I said Adam Schefter tweet.
I didn't realize Andrew Luck's been gone for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea it'd been that long. I mean, okay, like, that's where we're at, I guess. I don't know, man. I mean, I know that there's a certain limit they're allowed to put in, and I get all that. It's just, I've never understood why a guy's a Hall of Famer, but only after a certain number of years that he's up for the Hall of Fame. What, did he play a couple of games on the side in between the time he retired and then that got him over the hill? That's never made sense to me.
I talked to a voter, and we had a conversation because, you know, we had talked about our guy Joe T, and he goes, "Do you think he'll get in?" We just had a private conversation. I'm not saying who he is, but he goes, "It was interesting being in the room because they're very particular about first-time guys in the ballot making it in." I'm going to go, well, what's the case against Joe Thomas? Because someone asked me, they go, make your case for Joe Thomas getting in the Hall of Fame. I go, what's the case for him not? I go, try to point out one reason why he shouldn't get in. And then I go, I think that's your case. There is no argument to be made. I go, that's the easiest thing. Darrelle Revis, same thing. Like, what's the case against him?
DeMarcus Ware, same
thing. Like, you don't have a case. So we got into talking about it, but he goes, you'd be surprised. He goes, in that room, there's a lot of people who do not want to have a lot of guys who are first ballot Hall of Famers get in because they like guys who'd been waiting to have their opportunity.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
I know. It's like, why we need to politicize the Hall of Fame of NFL? It's pretty simple.
You know what sucks? When a guy finally gets in and it's after he passed away. That's what sucks. And they're playing with people's legacies. Like, they would like to see.
Yeah, they're playing with like Connor Barwin's or Doug Baldwin's, depending on how this all works.
Yeah,
Connor Barwin.
Just, you never know. There's a lot going on there. I didn't realize Doug Baldwin had been retired 5 years either.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But was he undrafted, Doug Baldwin?
I think he might have been, or he's a late round pick, maybe.
Stanford, right?
Yeah, Stanford. He
Yeah.
might have been undrafted.
Huh. Well, there it is. There's your update, the Hall of Fame class of 2023 as we look ahead to 2024.